Hey YouTube, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor Leah Lauder, and I'm also live on TikTok, and I'm gonna go live on Insta. So let's go live on Insta real quick. Nice to see y'all here. That's the mic. Let me get it. Let me do it this way a bit. Hey Insta, it's Leah Lauder, your favorite mega church cult survivor, and I'm live on TikTok and I'm live on YouTube. To all the TikTokers, please like the live, because when I'm on different social media platforms, it's a bit difficult. So if you're a mod, please be on it. I spent 18 years in a church cult, unfortunately, and they took a lot of my life. There was a lot of lies, a lot of deception. I was just a kid. I didn't know anything. My boyfriend had just been unalived in police custody. I was absolutely broken. I thought, would it have been different if they had the understanding and knowledge to have taken me to, mental health professional services and then supported me through that process? Would things have been different? I think so. I do. But, for lack of knowledge, my people perish. So people are just out here perishing, and that's on period point blank. It's really upsetting to see the radicalization of the youth in these settings. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Like, I've just seen Steps on a live. And the thing is, Steps is so talented, but because of the environment he's in, it's like very like bounded choice. Like even what he's talking about, like it just makes no sense. It's sad, man. It's sad when you see them like just rob like the youth of opportunities, and it just drains you of all your creativity, like especially if you're a creative and you end up in these religious institutions. Oh my gosh, it's like doing time. It's HELL. So that's why, like, when they threaten me with HELL, I'm like, I've been there, done that, and I've bought the t-shirt. It's like, you can't threaten me with that, babes. So that's why it doesn't threaten. It's not a threat to me because I've experienced it. I was at the most vulnerable position of my life, and I thought I was doing up church. And I'm coming to find that these men of God have been doing the most, including forcing women, eating grapes, all of it. Yeah, Nance, it's a lot, man. And then they want to try and say that you're church hurt. It's like, no, babe. It's not. It's so much deeper than that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is ABUSE. This is trauma. This isn't. I didn't get hurt. I didn't get. Somebody didn't step on my toe. Thanks for the follow, Diag. Thanks for the follow. So I want to talk a little bit about spiritual mothers. I'm going to break down the false doctrine behind it. So because there might be people in here. YouTube, let me just move you a little bit. There might be people in here who don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, I just looked out of YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. You know what it is though? It's ghetto too. All right, so in these false mega CCs, yeah, they have like this false doctrine where basically they believe that you, like in the spirit, you have spiritual fathers and spiritual mothers who like raise you up. So there's a scripture in Paul where it says, I have many teachers, but not many fathers. And that's another huge red flag. And I'm going to do a video from Thursday. I'll start doing content on Thursday. I'm hoping to get out this video. One of the major red flags, if they radicalize young people and they're extreme in the religious institution, is if they teach on the scriptures of Paul and that side of the canon Bible more than the words of Jesus. Queen Ines in the cut, because a lot of Paul's teachings were very radical, and it was used to like, rebuke the other churches and, put them in for them to fall in line and whatever. So when you see them quoting a lot of Paul, it's most likely a cult because they like idolize like Paul in there. So anyway, it comes from like Paul saying there's many teachers but not many fathers. So basically they've come up with this false doctrine that it's like you need a spiritual father in the faith. So it makes them look more credible. So this is why there's like all these connections. It's a rotten seed, a rotten root. So you'll see like Tommy Ariomi, his Tyrone, is it Junior, the Wildfires or whatever movement, and his spiritual father, as Tommy said, like almost like puts a stamp of approval on them, because in the mega church cult world, it's very much to do with networking, who you know, not how you hear from God. Or do you get what I'm saying? Like the people who really hear from God, they've been hidden, especially for such a time as this, because it wouldn't have resonated with people. Like, now is the time. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you're woke, if you're like deeply spiritual, you're a good human being. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what I'm going to say is going to resonate with you. All right. So then they bring in this false doctrine of catching the anointing from the spiritual father, because it's the whole ideology that the spiritual father has the power to bless or curse you. They bring in honor, obey thy mother and father, honor thy mother and father. It's fooling so many people. Yeah, Scotty, you can ask me a question. Ines, are you on deck? Ines, are you here? Spirit of truth, are you on deck? Because Scotty wants to ask me a question. All right, babe. Go ahead, Scotty. Feel free. The floor is yours. So they have this like catch the anointing, like you've got to catch it, and it's like the anointing falls from Aaron's bed, so from the top down, not from the down up. That's what they indoctrinate a lot of young people with. So it's got this pyramid scheme. So it's just, they just do a lot in there. They do a lot. So it's like when they're like, and then another thing that they say is you need to be born into the spirit by someone. So if you're not born into the spirit by someone, it makes you illegitimate. These people are wild, though. It makes you illegitimate, like an illegitimate son. So you had to have had like a spiritual father, been brought up in the Lord, been birthed into the ministry and sat under the man of God for many years. Because you see, that's how they see servanthood. They see servanthood as physically washing someone's feet and being under a malignant narcissistic leader. That's what that. So do you see? It's not about the anointing of God. It's not about the personal relationship with God. It's about these corrupt mogs that are coming in and validating and putting the stamp of approval on these brats. Lovers of self. In it for the money. In it for the thrill, the game, the power, the control. That's what they're in it for, Scotty. That's what they're in it for. That's why I'm here exposing. I'm here because I know I'm pretty. I know I'm fabulous. I know I'm a vibe. So people are going to listen to me, even if it's 10, even if it's 5. I know I'm a vibe because I came back to self, and that's what I encourage. Oh my God, YouTube! I'm so sorry. That's what I encourage all the survivors to do. Thanks, Nance. Is come back to self, because they're just a bag of liars in there. Thank you, Ines. Oh God, Ines, do you know what? Oh, Ines, do you know what? I'm like, if I swung the other way, you'd be my type, you know. Thanks, Spirit of Truth. I love you, Spirit of Truth. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. Ines, you were so quick with it. All right. And so automatically, as you've received this mog as your spiritual father, his wife is automatically your spiritual mother. If she's not your spiritual mother, because there's a bit of a gray area, like my mog's wife, like, because, oh God, they're just, the wives are just, they're not okay. So she didn't feel like she was like old enough to like be my mom. So it was more like a big sis vibe, but she still had that ranking and that authority over my life, the same as a spiritual mother. Does that make sense? A man of God is mog. Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. If you haven't watched the video before, I do recommend it. It's on YouTube and it's on Instagram, Leah Lauder77. And basically, I've broken it down, but I'm going to give us an overview. So the covert narcissistic mother, they're characterized as subtle but harmful narcissists, okay? And these traits, they significantly have impact on their spiritual children. I'm going to be speaking through a spiritual lens and through a false mega CHURCH cult doctrine lens. All right, because if there's one thing I know, it's a false doctrine in the cut. You get me? 18 years. I gave it 18. I'm not going to throw away that 8. Are you having a laugh? I'm not going to throw away that. I'm like, you know, them big time FRAUD-sters. And then they get caught by the popo, and then they say, look, we'll cut you a deal if you help us catch the other criminals. That's what I'm on. That's the kind of deal. That's the kind of covenant relationship I'm in with my God. That's what I'm on, baby. That's what I'm on. Catch me if you can. I'm coming for them. I don't care. Like, think it's a joke, babe. I ain't even started yet. You listen to me and listen to me well. I know for me to be effective and for us to really get justice, I need to fix up. I need to fix up. I have to keep it real with you. I have to fix up. So this time really is about me going within, really healing. Do you think guys, I'm not even going to lie to you. I am healing for myself, but I'm not. I'm healing because I need to take them down. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I need to be in tip top shape, like mentally, like mind, body and soul. That's what I'm on. I'm not, listen, the race is not for the swift. This is a marathon. I'm running for the long haul, baby. I'm running for the long haul. Don't ever get it twisted. You see me being a bit silent, not creating content, be afraid, be very afraid. Because that means that I'm cooking up. That means I'm cooking. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't get disheartened by nothing, Chair. I don't get because I know that my God is in control. Anyway, they're not as openly grandiose. So a lot of the time, the mog's wives are behind the scenes. If they're incompetent, like Anya Kapawa in NGRM, he'll have them like side by side. Because remember, there's like a 20 age gap. He's like 29. Like he doesn't get taken seriously. So it's like she is part of, like, the wife is part of his aesthetic. Is what I'm saying making sense? Like he almost thinks it validates him. So strange. Thanks for liking up the live, guys. I appreciate you. There's people who have more viewers and less likes, so I really appreciate the collective. All right, so it's a more passive and hidden form of narcissism, and it often masks their behaviors. All right, so their behaviors are masked with martyrdom, self-pity, and a tendency to play the victim. I want to also put in matriarchy in this, because in these false CCs, the WOGs are seen as the matriarch, like the co-founder. So everybody, welcome Instagram. Everybody kind of like, comes on and like worships them. Queen Alita in the car comes on and worships them. So, they mask a lot. They mask. But when you get to know them behind the scenes, hey, Queen, anyone that's been close to a WOG, that's been close to the cult leader's wife, they always leave at some point because they see like the real deal. They see like what it is behind the scenes, unless they're just completely like mentally gone. Thank you, Ines. Pin it for me, please, babe. So it can make their behavior incredibly confusing and damaging for the spiritual child, because remember, we're under submission of them. The spiritual mother and the spiritual father, they have more power than our own parents. Like, we think that they have the ability to bless and curse us, to make our lives better or to not make them better. We believe that they're a spiritual covering over our lives. It's very deep. So like how your mother is supposed to provide for you, like food, like a roof over your head, they believe in the spirit that they're providing, that a spiritual home, a roof over your head, like spiritual food. They believe that they're preaching very narcissistic ideologies, very narcissistic when you strip it back. So what the narcissist is saying is, you can't live without me. Thank you, Coco. And can everybody follow me on Leah Lauder 7? That's my main account. This is a backup account. I'm not on here I'm not on here often. It's like, you can't survive without me. Remember, I said that these spaces are a breeding ground for narcissists. And I'm writing a book, and in my works, it's going to really be highlighting that, because it doesn't get spoken about enough. And that's really what we're going to be struggling with the most. Please pin for me, babe. That's what we're going to be struggling with the most. Post-cult exit will be narcissistic ABUSE, because we've been exposed to a high level exposure of it, to the point where people are breathing out gaslighting. They're breathing out psychological abuse. So we become desensitized to psychological, emotional manipulation and abuse and indoctrination. And what happens is we go into autopilot. All right. And the signs are very subtle. And it can be seen in people's faces. Like my face is still a bit uneven. I'm starting to get back like my facial features, and because there's something about like, narcissistic abuse, and you carry trauma in the body. So the face is one where a lot of them carry the trauma. You usually see them with quite like they call them soulless eyes. When you've experienced like severe, heavy indoctrination. Yeah, spirit of truth is just the truth, man. This is what it is, and it's sad. So The spiritual children then turn it into like their mission to try and understand the root of the dysfunction and the extent of the manipulation. So in that moment, if you've been close to the wog or the mog and you start to see corruption, you're going to be in a cognitive dissonant, dissociative state. So you think, oh, you know, people just have weaknesses, they're human beings, because they also indoctrinate us with that. Like, you know, the mogs are not perfect. If they were perfect, they'd be Jesus Christ. And what I think is so funny is when the mog acts or the wog acts a certain way, we just welcome back. But when it's us, they very much stop and start to write notes in their little black book. Do you know what I mean? And start to keep points, scoring points on what we've done. All right, so characteristics. I've gone through this on the YouTube, guys, so I'm just going to mention this and then get on to the next part. This is going to be a quick live. I'm going to be doing more like kind of quick, short, speed sessions just to get some content for YouTube, because I'm building a community on there. If you come on YouTube and you've got this far, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. 15 minutes, 16 minutes, in fact. Please subscribe and like. You know, I don't have the technology. It's just me and my wonderful, fabulous self and my, you know, duck egg bag. But please do support your home girl and give me a subscribe. And watch my video before, part 1. I break down these points in a lot more depth. So I'm not going to go into it because this is also a season for me of preservation of energy. So the characteristics of a covert narcissistic spiritual mother are as follows: passive aggression, playing the victim, emotional blackmail, gaslighting, envy and competition, a lack of empathy, emotional invalidation, and secret sabotage. I'm going to give you a quick example of this. The secret sabotage happens in them giving you like a bad recommendation, because everything in these cults is based off recommendation, who you know, etc. Like someone vouching for you, almost like a guarantor. That's how they act in these cults. So this pastor's wife was asked about this girl. When I tell you, when this woman, when the wog's mum unalived, she went through depression, whatever, the girl was there cleaning her house, cooking for her kids, doing everything. When Richard I asked her, the girl's name's Jennifer in First Love. She does the choir. She's married to an ex-convict. I forget his name. He's a pastor in First Love now. That's who I'm talking about, Jennifer. I was in the group Olives with her, and I'm talking about Lady Pastor Trudy in the car. All right. So Richard I, if you watch this, Jenny, he was going to give you some sort of promotion, some sort of honor, because you've been in the cult for years, your faithfulness, whatever. And Trudy turned around and said she won't recommend you. That might have had something to do with Sharina, because when that little kerfuffle happened with Bishop Joshua Ewan-Mills, I will be exposing Bishop Joshua Ewan-Mills this week. You get me? I will be diving into the chronicles, the archives, the historical context around Bishop Joshua Ewan-Mills' little shenanigans over here in London when he was in the University of Nottingham and when he was in the Milky Way stars and, you know, pioneering and, you know, spearheading First Love with the university campuses. I will get into that. Do you know what I mean? Because they'd learnt their lesson from Sharina. Yeah, everybody's getting exposed. I don't care. I don't owe no one nothing. I don't owe no one no loyalties. I don't owe no one nothing. You see, 2025 into 2026, I'm moving differently. You see, 2026, that's when I'm going to have no chill. I'm just going to have to choose like one of my TikTok accounts that I just IDGAF. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm really going to be going in. You lot are going to see me building TikTok accounts every day in 2026. That's what I'm on. You lot, I'm going to have like 200 people strong on WhatsApp, like 200 people who are ready for it. So every time the account gets a lock off, I've got 200 people there ready. Send the link. We get it up and running, ready to go live. For the people that it won't trigger, you know what I'm saying? Child, I'm going to have family members on there. I'm not playing, because if you lot want to play this game, we can play it. We can play it all day. Because if there's one thing I know how to do, is I know how to build a corrupt religious organization. So if I need to use the same skills to galvanize and mobilize the people on social media, just the way you lot do it, that's why your mogs and your cult leaders have such large cult share. All right. Thank you, Queen Innes. Thank you, Queen Innes. It ain't nothing but a chicken wing. Do you know what I mean? That's on Period Point Black. It ain't nothing, baby. To be having all I have to do is create a WhatsApp. Do you know how much mandem? I'm going to at least get 50 mandem strong that's going to be running to get this number. What? Access to my WhatsApp? Are you all right? I can already get 10 mandem right now that's going to do that for me on TikTok. I could get 10 mandem right now. That's 10 followers. Are you having a laugh? And that's just because of pretty privilege. That's just because I'm prettier. That's it. Just because I'm pretty, I can get 10 mandem to be following me on TikTok, and that's on Period Point Blank. Yeah, it's just I'm transparent about it. Y'all go out there and you do flirty fishing. You go and flirt with the man them on the street and road, curbside. Me, I'm doing it elegantly from my boudoir. Do you know what I mean? On the live, that's what I'm doing. I like to keep it classy, and at least the man them know the reason why you're getting the number is that you can follow me on TikTok. I'm not trying to promise them this and heaven and paradise and a dream. I'm not selling them a dream. I'm not. Y'all are the real seductresses, the ones in there love bombing and using charm to coerce men and flirting with the man them outside on the road curb. You're a spiritual harlot. Thanks for the follow, Rami. It's just, that's why I call them 304s, because they're spiritual 304s. That's why, listen, let me tell you a little quick story. If it gets luck off, I'm going to be on Leah Lord DJ out, because you know what, in this, I don't care today. I'll keep it real. I don't care. So there was this gal, and I was with this guy, yeah. I knew he was a narcissist. I knew certain things about him. I'm not going to get into it, but he was really rich. And, like when you're with a guy, it's like all the gal them want him because you're with him type of vibe, yeah? Because it's like, what does he have type of vibe? So anyway, let me get the link. I met this 304, yeah, because I was desperate to make friends leaving the cult. Biggest mistake of my life. And now I have to see this girl every day. Anyway, the long and short of it is she slept with the guy I was seeing behind my back. And there's a lot more to it, guys. I will be revealing all of this in my tell-all book that I do at a point. But long story short, this girl told me she didn't love her son. She had been around in South London. Like, this girl had been like man them know her from Birmingham to Scotland to everywhere. Okay. So it's Jezebel. So long story short, this girl will literally sleep with anyone's husband. Like, she doesn't care. She doesn't have any morals. She doesn't have any respect for herself. She doesn't, do you know what I mean? She's just outside in these streets. So what I'm saying to you is these are the type of gal them that end up in these spaces. It's these type of gal them. And I can't even go into it as much as I want to, guys, because, I have to keep some things private. But what I will say to you is it's just all about their favorite fruits are bananas. That's all it's about in there. That's all it's about in there, guys. That's what it comes down to. That's why I talk a lot about looks. I talk a lot about the man them. I talk about, because that's all they care about. If I'm sitting here talking about scriptures, they don't care. That's not gonna, because that's not what their drive is. If I say to them, every man desires me, that's riling them up, because that's what you have in your heart is HATE. Do you know what I'm saying? When I'm saying that their husbands are sitting there and getting a you know what and desiring me, I don't care. Listen, babe. Listen, I'm not saying I'm the prettiest girl in the world, but I'm one of them. I'm not saying I'm the prettiest, but I'm definitely one of them in the lineup, because that's my reality. You can't, you don't define, even if you say, oh, you ain't all that. I don't think I don't care, because you're not in my reality. I'm the main character in my reality. I think I'm one of the prettiest girls in the world. So regardless of what you tell me or what you think, that's absolutely irrelevant. That's your opinion. This is my truth. This is factual to me. I believe it. I internalize it. I exude it. I am that. So that energy attracts it. Even if a man's not physically attracted to me. Example, I was on the beach the other day. And physically, maybe perhaps to the eye, these men weren't physically attracted. But when I started putting my playlist on and I started being the main character and the superstar of the beach, every guy wanted me on there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's a vibe. It's the energy. It's the main character, energy that you bring. It's not the fashion that makes the girl. It's the girl that makes the fashion. That's why they have models modeling them. But who do you think you are? Are you the consumer or are you the creator? Are you the model? Are you the Mona Lisa? Or are you the friggin' follower? Do you know what I mean? Like looking up to these role models to look like them. And that's why I don't rate these kids. Like, baby, I'm your role model. How about that? Do you think I'm going to be sitting here? I'm not on your level, babe. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why I don't have them on the live. If I'm not on your Mogs level and your Wogs level, I have absolutely I don't put no respect on their name whatsoever. I don't respect it. You think you at your low level, severely and heavily indoctrinated, you're well down in the food chain, well down in the pyramid scheme. You're like at the bottom of the lowest. You're like 16, been going for like a couple of years, maybe like 3 years, and you want to come on my life and have some chat for me? Oh God, never, not in this world and not in this lifetime. You and me, not the same. You're not like us. You're not like us. As in the words of Kendrick Lamar, you're not like us. You lot are Drake. Where the F the function? Where the F the function? That's what you lot are on. You lot are like Drake. We're from Compton, baby. It's real outside in these streets. Tupac raised us. You get me? Do you know what I mean? We're not from Canada, Ontario. That's not what we're doing up playing. We're not in cosplay doing up fake gangster. That's not what we're doing up. We're really from Compton outside in these streets. All right. So now that I've given you a little background on the spiritual covert narcissistic mother, we're going to get into the impact that this has on the children. Welcome, Lola, on Instagram. So as a result of this dysfunctional behavior, kids growing up with a covert narcissistic spiritual mother will have low self-esteem. So one of the things that make you vulnerable in these church cults is already walking in there with low self-esteem. So can you imagine having a leader, someone that you're seeing as a spiritual mother? Welcome, Miss CHM. And they're breaking you down further. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because their insecurity, their low self-esteem, they're projecting that on you every single day, every single minute of the day. You see these wogs, yeah, these cult leaders' wives, they need a lot of validation and a lot of attention because they get absolutely no attention from their husbands. Their husbands give everybody. Tina's mum, Tina's mum's cousin, Tina's mum's cousins, bosses, sisters, sister-in-laws, you know, giving everyone but their wife attention. That does impact on someone, especially when they're getting emotionally neglected for long periods of time. A lot of them are in celibate marriages as well. That my pastor used to be at the church counseling me until 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. He's not getting home until 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. And then he's got to go to work, and then they've got to do the school run, and then there's no time for them to do anything. They're just conked out. So that's why they have to indoctrinate the women. They have to make the women believe that it's a ministry, it's a duty. You have to be anointed. Why? Because it's sacrifice. It doesn't matter what this guy's doing to you. They encourage you to stay in the marriage. So should we be like Osinachi, whose husband unalived her in the end? Are you having a laugh? I'm so glad to see you on here. I've been feeling so low and so behind these church spaces is really have a lot to answer for. Yeah, Lola, I've been the same. That's why my content's been more spiritual, because I felt to delete myself last week. It was mad. This is why I'm on here doing cult psycho ed to help people. Let's get up, let's get our brains, let's get to the root of why we're feeling this way. It's because of the ABUSE, man. We need to deconstruct and deprogram. And I'm here. I'm standing with you lot. Please don't make me cry, Lola. I'm standing with the collective, man. This is like the battle of my life. I'm fighting for my life. I'm fighting for my mental health, man. But I'm standing right beside you, lot. I'm standing right beside you, lot, all right? We're going to get through it together as a collective. This is what it's all about. All right. And Lola, you know, because you've said that, I think even when I am feeling really low, I'm going to try and come on and you did that for me. Like being open and sharing that and letting me know I'm not alone in this. All right. What else will a spiritual narcissistic mother's impact have on her spiritual children? So anxiety and depression. The constant emotional manipulation and invalidation can lead to anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. I felt like I was walking on eggshells. I didn't know, you know, when she was going to strike, when she was going to rebuke me, when she was going to lay into me. But like I was always anxious, like, and I wanted to make her proud. I wanted her to be proud of me, and you know, I wanted that attention. But mainly, it's the validation, difficulty with relationships. So again, children of covert narcissists, they may struggle to form healthy relationships due to a lack of trust, fear of abandonment, or a tendency to repeat dysfunctional relationship patterns. So what you'll see is the WOG loves to bring these type of like little girls around them, yeah, who have like fear of abandonment, like daddy issues, like just vulnerable, so that they can control them. And remember, this is like a high grade supply for the WOG because they're so impressionable. Hey, Joe. They're so impressionable. They're so naive that they can just saying to them because they're easily manipulated, they're easily vulnerable, and they're not even aware of it as they're doing it. So they love that type of supply. Another thing I want to say is if we bring DV into this, where the mother's been a covert narcissist and then the dad's been a narcissist or maybe even a malignant narcissist, the children will have difficulties in like forming romantic relationships because in the fear of becoming like their mother. So you see, like, there's some women that have a fear of becoming their mother. And this is the kind of deep-rooted trauma. Because whether it goes in a way where this woman ends up being a big CEO, she gets everything, and then she's still empty because she hasn't dealt with the trauma. She's just been running from not wanting to be like her mum, who was a 304. Do you know what I mean? Working the streets. So no matter how you spin it, yeah, come in. What's up, baby? I'm on live. Come in. Don't say anything. Just quickly come in. What's up? Yeah, can I have some? You know, no matter how that manifests or shows up in their life. You know what I mean? Are you all right, princess? Are you having a nice time? Can you get mommy a bottle of water? Oh, I love you so much. Careful. You're my princess. All right, I'll wait for you to bring the bottle of water. And I talk like that to my kids all the time. I'm not doing it for the internet. You know, them ones. You know these fake wogs and mogs, they love acting like, you know, they don't do these things behind closed doors, like speak to each other. A lot of them don't speak to each other behind closed doors. You know, them ones, they're living in separate bedrooms, and then they come in all hand in hand into the space. Why? Because they've got bills to pay. Like, she's gonna smart, like, you see these mugs wives, yeah, they're enablers. They enable the behavior, because like if a woman comes in and she sees like the leader happily married, like got a wife by their side, you think, oh, okay, it's like a happy little family, and then they've got like their 2 kids, and it's all part of the aesthetic. It's all part of the marketing. Yes, that's the word. It came natural. I love you, elites. That's the vibes. Like these man them, they're not attracted to that. They don't do it for them. Like after 2 years, the man them are checked out, because the wives, they're like managers. They control. The men can't breathe. Oh, you're such an angel. Thank you, baby. Oh my God, she's such an angel. That one. She never complained. I said to her, I said, you're never leaving me. I said, you're gonna be with mommy forever. Oh God, you don't understand how refreshing that is, guys. A nice bottle of cold water. Hey, Queen Luciana. All right. So these young people and children that have abandonment issues, like ones with daddy issues, etc., you're gonna be. It's like, what they do is they use your fears, because there's that what is it? Information intel stage. The intel information stage, where they start to gather information about you and know everything about your life. So they know what buttons to push. So that has a direct impact on and then you have to consider the power dynamics. Hey, Queen, because you've got the wog, who's usually, you know, a lot older than these young vulnerable girls, usually by 10. But if you're CC, a power 30 years. So there's a lot of, you know, that age difference. There's that you know, the young people are more naive and impressionable. So the wog and the mog has, you know, that advantage just outside, because, you know, everyone's in the cloud. So everything's about spirituality. Thanks for the follow, Issa. Everything's about spirituality. But if we look at it from a logical lens, you know, that's why a mum is not happy if there's like a big 15 to 25 year age gap, because not only if it's our auntie, she's going to be thinking, are you going to be giving me my grandchildren? But aside from that, they're going to be thinking, you can manipulate my son. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's a certain wisdom that, and women, like, you know, they are more emotionally intelligent, and they, you know, they age before men. It's that type of vibe. All right. Codependency. So the spiritual children become codependent on the wog, on the cult leader. So they develop codependent behaviors, such as putting the first lady, pastor's wife's needs before their own feelings or everyone else's needs. So the sheep, the potential members' needs before their own, or feeling responsible for the well-being of others. What I will say to you is, when you get indoctrinated in these cults, they make you feel like you're Superman, like you're here to like save the world. You're going to do greater works than Christ, you know, go into all the nations and preach the gospel, John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Very RADICAL, very pressurized, on the go, it never stops type of environment. That's one of the ways that you can tell you're in a cult and not a church, because it's all about building, taking over territories, you know, building empires for the mog. That's all they care about: power, money, control, and ego. So when you see that thing of them talking about raising up leaders, raising up pastors, raising up people, raising up, taking over territory. All of that is not from God. God doesn't work like that. There's no territory to take over. God owns everything. He's given us dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, of everything. We have that. That's our birthright. We don't need to spend hours praying for it and going out forcibly and coercing and using all different types of dark psychology, occultic tendencies to coerce and gaslight and manipulate people to come to church. We don't need to do that, because if you know that that's your birthright, thank you, Sahara. If you know that you're a child of God and you know the power that comes with that, then you won't be doing that, because people will be gravitated to you. People will be magnetized to come and speak to you. You won't need to beg. You won't need to say, I'll pay £30 for an Uber from Kent to Oval Kennington, and you don't even have that money. You won't be doing that. You won't be going and driving people out, rinsing your petrol, spending money that you don't have. You won't be doing that. You won't be not mentioning the name of your church because you know it's got a bad reputation. You won't be doing that. You won't be lying and giving people misinformation because you know that the religious setting that you go to has a bad reputation. So you swerve and dodge questions like a little wheeler and dealer. That's not from God. That's definitely not from the Lord Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. He definitely didn't teach you that, baby. You learnt that one from your corrupt cult leader. That's looking more like an African politician than they are a man of the cloth. All right, my loves? Okay, great. So difficulty setting boundaries. Listen, you're doing everything for Tom, Dick and Harry and sundry. That's what you're doing up. You come last. They're out there. That's why they look at MESS. Do you know what I mean? They're out there first thing in the evening. They're out there all in the night. They're looking and focusing on everybody else but themselves. That's why they look at MESS. What you need to realize is people are going to stop when you look the part. There are people that I see coming on here claiming to preach, and they look like they haven't shaved in years. No skincare, nails are dirty. Why am I going to listen to you? If you can't even take care of your basic necessity, your basic needs of self-care, I'm not going to listen to you, babe, because I get depressed. And for me to get up and make myself look decent with my disabled chronic health, severe mental health, so it must be really bad for you. Because how you are on the inwards is going to show on the outwards. But there's a clause with this. Because in these cults, what they're very good at doing is putting the bandage over the trauma. All right. So what I will give the award to these mega thingy cults is the award to scrub people up well. They do scrub up a reformed gangster. Do you know what I'm saying? Actually, what am I talking about? A reformed criminal. Do you know what I mean? And wheeler and dealer. They know how to clean them up real good. Just put them in a little suit, indoctrinate them for a couple of weeks, and Bob's your uncle. They've got rid of the trap line. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not on the block anymore. All of a sudden, people were looking to, unalive them. And now since they started going to church, miraculously, thank you, God, no one's after them anymore. It's all lies. All right. So they may struggle. These kids of the covert spiritual mother may struggle to set healthy boundaries, making them vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. So that's why I said to you that even the members, they come highly vulnerable. Like, guys, some of these people, they're so vulnerable, they can't form friendships and relationships with people because they have severe needs, severe learning needs, severe whatever it is. Remember I told you there was that guy who used to come up to me that I invited to the setting, and he would be like, hi Leah, how's your day? I can't even say, oh hey Jeremy, how are you? Hi Leah, how's your day? Oh, my day's been good. He speaks to himself in the conversation. Hey Leah, I'm good. I've just been playing football. I've been playing football with my friends, man. Yeah, I have. It was a great day and the sun was out. But do you know what? I don't really know if it's sunny. And then he'll look down and he'll be like, yeah, because it will be sunny. And I'll be like, oh, that's great. Yeah, it's great. So someone like that, through love bombing, coercive, they're not even listening to the person. They're not even giving them their time. Do you understand? But they're just there based off building a fake relationship with that person because it's bums on seats equals coins. The house has to be full. So people get very drained as well because there's no boundaries. Like, for example, there could be someone who suffers with severe mental health, and it can be very draining, the energy. Sometimes they just want to drain you. They just want to speak to someone and just, go on and on. But there's nothing, the cycle's not actually changing. Sometimes they can... when someone's going to delete their stuff, they're not even going to tell anyone, guys. That's the truth. So they'll do things like that as well. So I have spoken about this. I have felt like in the leadership position that I have been manipulated to stay on the phone for extra long, to do things, go places that I don't want to go. And you're kind of doing things against your will. It's like bounded choice. So when you come out, if you decide to like maintain and keep friendships, you do have to set boundaries, because now the friendship is different. It's not like I'm going to be on the phone to you for hours. I don't have hours to give. You know, you need to make them understand that, you know, this is not for brownie points now. If they, that's why when the people leave, they're not on the phone to these people for hours. They're not doing it up because their heart wasn't in it like that. They were indoctrinated to believe a lie. So when they leave, they start to get their priorities together. They start to put things into perspective. Start to spend time with their kids, quality time with their family. They realize time is precious. They learn about like their energy and feeling drained and whatever. So they don't give that time to people. It's y'all in the church that are washed up. And that's on period, point blank, all right? That's why there's most of the gal them in there, they look older than me. Like the man them in there, yeah, I don't trust them. So I'm not even going to say let's do a lineup, because I wouldn't trust them, to be honest, because, you know, the truth is not in them. Do you understand? So we'd have to bring, you know, like experts with lie detector tests, body language experts. We'd have to do the whole lot so that we could line up about 10 gal them. And this is, it would just be how I would do it if I would do this social experiment is through random sampling. So just all of them like have maybe a number in a hat, pull out the numbers in the hat, line them all up and get the guys to give a lie detector test. Truthfully, which one would they prefer to be with or have a schmexual experience? Because, you know, they'll lie and say, oh, I don't think about that. I'm God himself. I don't have schmexual feelings. She doesn't attract me. Oh, whatever, babe. You're a man. Unless you're on the DL. You know them ones. Unless you're on the DL. Because I have studied male psychology extensively. I know what I'm doing outside in these streets. Yeah, all right, excellent. Just so we're all on the same page, because I don't have time for the lies anymore. They're just all men at the core of it. That's why they teach misogyny and patriarchy, because they don't want the women to be in their power, for us to realize how weak-minded that, you know, the Marses women are from. Yeah, they don't want us to. All right. Identity confusion. The emotional manipulation can make it difficult for spiritual children to develop a strong sense of self and identity. So a lot of the time, what will happen is you'll see like mini wogs, like mini first ladies. That's why Karis is an excellent example. All of the girls are dressed like a 50-year-old Ghanaian woman in there, in a remix style. So their makeup is like our, like heavy makeup, these wigs, like that's how she wears them, A-line skirts, headbands, dolly shoes. You know, it's just giving auntie from 2007. You know, because that was probably ours. You know, peak moment. You know, when she was doing her it was her time, her prime was probably in the 2000s. I'm guessing early to mid 2000s with the aesthetic of Karis. I'm going to say early to mid 2000s. They love the headbands, the dolly shoes, the A-line skirts. That was a very 2000 aesthetic in the mega cult world. Yeah. So they start to take on the pseudo personality, want to dress, act like the wog, because their dream is to marry their pastor. Like that's how dysfunctional it is in there. Their dream would be to, if they could marry a man exactly like their cult leader, like if their cult leader has a single son, oh my God. I'm going to get on to Joshua Eward Mills, because Joshua Eward Mills is the son of my cult leader, Dag Eward Mills. And when he was like in his prime, 17, 18, between like 17 to I'd say about 21, he had his way with women in the cult. And he used his power and his influence, and he has a huge ego. So God forbid he's got a son in there. Oh my gosh, the gal them are going to be, that's their dream. Their dream is to marry the cult leader, because everything is about the cult leader. It's like I felt like I was married to my cult leader. Like they become like a husband to you, your Lord. Sarah called Abraham her Lord. It's like that. Like, you know, we're like Sarah's, like calling these mogs like our Lord. It's like, it's mad in there, man. You're severely indoctrinated, man. All right. So this is why it's important when you come out that you've got to like set boundaries. You've got to have practice self-care and change the negative thinking. It's very important, guys. Very, very important. Because we've been like a doormat. We've been walked all over when we've been in the setting. And the thing is that the wogs they get walked all over by their spouse every day. They're not heard. They're silenced. That's why they're loud behind closed doors, like with their opinions. That's when you see the power of the first lady. when she says no to something. And she likes to do it when like people in leadership are there so that they see that like she wears the trousers behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, nothing can happen if the WOG doesn't give it, you know, her say so. Because she's been the ride or unalive. She stood by the guy. So he's not, especially like David Antry, I can tell I was wearing the trousers because that's more like a female-led ministry. For me, it's been the realization that I and the family members who just decided to join these spaces are vulnerable people. Wow. I'm so sorry, Lola. That's what I'm saying, girl. They target the vulnerable, the most vulnerable in society. That's what they do up. They love it. It's because they know who to choose. When they're out there, it's not like they're speaking to everyone down the street. Like I get targeted a lot because I'm always out with my girls. They're like my accessory, like my little handbag. I'm out with my girls all the time. They're like they're attached to my hip. And I look young because my eldest is tall. She could pass as like 13 and I look young. I look like I've had a young, like maybe 15, 16. They like gravitate to me like flies. Do you know what I mean? They think I'm just going to have it like I'm a vulnerable, naive young mum. People get shocked when I open my mouth and say, well, actually, that's not the case. I'm sorry. I don't think that you've been well informed about this situation, actually. You know, they get surprised because now you're speaking to a big woman. You're speaking to a boss in the car. That's why certain gal them had to have their eyes looking down today because I don't play that. I don't play that. Respect me. I'm big on respect. If you can't put respect on my name, don't be in my energy. Because anyone that I'm around, I'm going to show you respect and I'm going to show you love, innit? On period, point blank. If you don't respect me and I don't respect you, then we don't vibe. We're like oil and water. We don't mix. So why am I going to put myself in a compromising situation to be around someone that don't put no respect on my name? This is why a lot of you single, you know what, that are spouses, you should be here with notebooks and pens, because if you no longer respect that person that you're there hitched up with, you need to leave. That's the issue. That's why you're so unhappy, because you don't put no respect on his name. When you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh his hair, and that's how they act, like they irritate each other, like they don't even want to chat to each other, silent treatment. And you think that environment is healthier for your kids than going your separate ways. That's why it's difficult for them to grow up and form relationships, because there's so much fear of them turning into their mother and father and them having kids and going through what they went through because they cried themselves to sleep. They had to listen to daddy cheating and knowing all of that was going on and hearing their mum crying. You know what I'm saying? Because some women like to involve their children and use them as a pawn and make their sons like their husbands and use their kids as a form of supply, because that's when the mother's covert. She's a covert narcissist, chair. She wants to keep the dad there for her own supply, her own reason. She doesn't care about the kids. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. And you develop such a superior complex, I'm ashamed to admit. So leaving has been very humbling because I have trauma unresolved. They don't get to root in those spaces. And I want to say, guys, the superiority complex and all of the shame and guilt that we feel leaving these, because I'm ashamed that I was, connected with Daguid Mills in any way. I'm ashamed to say it. I feel disgusted. I feel sick. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you come out, you are ashamed of yourself, and that you listen to a lot of the human fecal matter. Because, girl, we were in psychosis. We were in the shared bubble of psychosis with the cult leader chair, because we were believing that Daguid Mills, David Antry, was an anointed prophet of God that had the ability to bless and curse, to do up everything to hear from God. Do you get what I'm saying, girl? So we thought that we were someone outside in these streets because we were attached to Daguid Mills. Elite, are you around, my love? We were attached to Daguid Mills. Do you see what I'm saying? So we need to be able to let go of the shame. But also remember, I told you, I looked in the mirror and I was a monster. I didn't know who was looking back at me anymore. It wasn't Leah. I'd gone so far from myself. I come off being an X Factor. I'm a bad girl. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like Star Girl. They came and turned me into an absolute outcast of society, your auntie, where I was dressing like a middle-aged woman. Do you understand what I'm saying? From Marks and Spencer, like that was my wardrobe and that was my aesthetic. Yeah. So this is what they like doing. They like to break down and tear down women. A woman, you got two types in there. You got the 304s that come in and they still wear the heavy makeup. They've still got their bust up. They're still doing whatever because they're desperate. Then, but when they get to a certain point, they've got to like down themselves. So they might still have like their face of makeup or whatever, but they might cover more their dressing. And then what happens is those women start to project. Because when the beautiful young women come in, or the women that have one foot in and one foot out, they start to resent them, and they're jealous of them because they really want to be wearing that, and they really want to be desired, and they really want to be living their lives, but they haven't. And now they're in these unalive marriages, and they got to come and smile and grin and say hello, but really they're unhappy. They're living miserable lives. It's like a sentence. So that's where the jealousy, the envy, the, you know, the projection, the HAT comes in with the young girls, and wanting to pressure them to get married young, because it's like my life's HELL, everyone else's should. And then we'll just share in this psychosis together. That's why they like people that are around them. They form these little nests, these little bubbles in the cults, and they want people to marry each other. Very like INCEST. Like you'll see them like a brother. Like these mandem, they come in as a state into these environments. I remember one guy, he used to have a BO problem. You get, and then it's like we've grown around said mandem. You get me? He's coming reeking. It's like to the point where my man has to be addressing it from the pulpit, and we're all sitting there awkwardly. And I don't think that should have been how it should have been addressed at all. But that's what they do in their chair. And then so 5 years later, now you want me to marry this ninja? Are you having a laugh? And gyal them will actually be doing it. That's why this gyal, they're divorced now. She thought she got married now. She's proud. She's acting like she don't see me, because he must have been chatting his nonsense to her, because he doesn't want me to tell her about these real life streets outside. So now you can see it for what it is. Now you've been humbled. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't play with me, babes. It's better to have me on your team, innit, than to not have me on your team. That's all I'm going to say on period, point blank. Because I see things. And everything that I says, it always happens. It's very humbling when you leave and realize no one knows these people. Oh my God, Lola, are you from First Love? Listen, I used to be like, yeah, they would say, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a shepherd. I'm in Dagwood. I'm a part of Dagwood Mills ministry. You must know him. I used to come across Ghanaians. You must know him. Dagwood Mills. I'm sure if you're from Ghana, you'll know him. Or, oh no, I don't know who you're talking about. Because they're psychotic. Don't you get it? They're not well. They're in a spiritual psychotic space. That's why when these guys start doing it, that's why Steps is a mini David Antry. Like, that's what we're seeing. That's why he's getting so much HATE on the net. Steps isn't himself. It's no longer his character. It's no longer his personality. Oh, thanks, Al. I appreciate you, babe. It's no longer his personality. It's no longer his character. What we're seeing is a miniature version of David Antry. So it Steps in David Antry cosplay. So Steps has put on the pseudo personality of his cult leader. All right. That's why he's acting like that. He feels like everyone's calling him pastor, this, pastor, because he's cosplaying David Antry. That's what they do up. And that's how they're seen as proper spiritual sons of the house. They got him, man. They got him real bad. They got him bad. You get me? They got him bad, yeah. When I see him on this live severely indoctrinated, I can tell from his eyes, it's just, there's nothing there. But the thing is, the people in these religious settings, they want to be accepted like real bad. They want to have people that's why this is their worst nightmare, because they always want these people, influential people, to like influence the young people, like get the views, get the young people. So that's why I'm their worst nightmare, because the young people be effing with this vibe, especially if they're not saved yet. If they're not saved yet, it's what I'm going to resonate more with the young people than these 304s. Do you understand? Retired 304s in these settings. Do you get it? Because I'm just real. I'm just telling people the truth. So and the thing is, now that I'm putting this awareness into the airwaves, yeah, where as soon as people go in these settings, it's like they're clocking it. They're clocking it. You're not clocking it, are you? You're not clocking it that we're standing on business, are you? You're not clocking it. It's like they're not clocking it. Like we really are standing on business outside in these streets. There's absolutely no way that you're gonna come. Listen, I was in my mum's yard. It might not have been perfect, but I was in my mum's yard. I didn't come looking for no one. Y'all were on the streets looking for me. You came and recruited me. You came and indoctrinated me. You came and took my money. It was all you. So now I'm outside in these streets and letting people know what it is. Yeah, letting them know exactly what it is, because I don't think it's fair for young people. And also my kids can't be growing up in this world. My kids can't be growing up in this world. And I can't be dealing with this in the future, man. Hey, Lean. All right, so let me give you a few more points for the key characteristics of a covert narcissist, because the thing is, even if they're not a loud person, they're calm, they're quiet, whatever, you will see the narcissism come into play when the mog or the cult leader gives them an instruction, gives them an order. It doesn't matter how lovely, it doesn't matter how whatever, it doesn't matter whatever. I'm good, my love, you. They will follow that instruction to a T. They will do what they have to do, because they put on the pseudo personality of the malignant narcissist. So guys, what I will say to you is, post-cult exit, when you come out, you'll have to do a lot of work around like identity, like therapy, like looking into narcissism, like deprogram your thoughts around narcissism, because they don't teach you anything about the narcissist in there. They just use all of the things that come against them to expose them and their characteristics and whatever. They demonize it. So anything that exposes the darkness in there, they demonize, and everything's upside down. So you become very confused when you come out. So I would say look into narcissism, understand what it looks like. Even there'll be a lot of research and literature out there on narcissism in a relationship, a one-on-one dynamic, but still look into it, because with the leaders or the mogs or the PASTORSs, the shepherds, whatever you call them in there, mentors, disciples, whatever, it would have been, you will have that one-on-one narcissistic dynamic. Unfortunately, there are some women that have been preyed on by the preds of the cult, and they've ended up marrying a mog or marrying a cult leader who said he saw in his dream that she was his wife, or whatever it is that they were doing up. They've been absolutely swindled, like Nia Cerise and Timothy Bayonne. So you have to do a lot of work around that, understanding the traits and characteristics of a narcissist, so that you don't keep on going around in those cycles. Because essentially, for me, coming to the realization that my dad is a narcissist and a pred is the reason why I found myself in certain settings and around certain individuals. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because of those deep-rooted father wounds. And now that I've clocked that, I'm taking the time out to heal. So that I don't attract these very needy people. They use the silence to hide their narcissistic. They use their silence to hide their narcissistic traits. Yeah, and they're hidden in plain sight. So the covert narcissist, because there is going to be traits as well of this covert narcissism, because they wear many masks. These malignant narcissists, they wear many masks, man, and they've got these elements of psychopathy. These elements of psychopathy, you know what I'm saying, that just allows them to just, oh my gosh, TikTok, why? Just all of these tactics, man. There's a lot of and it's very organized. Like these mogs and these cult leaders, they're like organized criminals. There's a difference between like your like local shotter who comes and sells whatever at a street level, and then you've got the organized criminals who are getting shipments in. Do you get what I'm saying? And distributing it all around the country. Do you get it? So I don't know what I was talking about, but I want to compare that to malignant narcissism. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've got your street level narcissists that are just shot in get me on the street, like street value. Then you've got the malignant narcissists that ship the product from abroad, that do this, and that's what we're talking about. These are malignant narcissists, very dangerous, very harmful. At a street level, it's probably affecting a community. At a malignant narcissist level, it's affecting nations. Do you understand? How do they start a cult? Oh, that's a good question, Lean. So let's go into the individual. So these are malignant narcissists, starting off as narcissists with traits of psychopathy from childhood. I'm going to use my cult leader as a case study, because we need to generalize this because it's such a big question. So if we look at Dagwood Mills, my cult leader, what I'm looking at when I psychoanalyze him from a malignant narcissist cult leader perspective, what I see is that he grew up in a very malignant type of home, dysfunctional childhood, upbringing. So we see those traits of insecurity, the seek for validation, him seeing ABUSC as love because it was very military. I don't think his mum fought for him. I don't think his mum could stand up for him. There might have been a bit of DV, with the in the dynamic of the mother and father as well. So there's deep rooted insecurities and rejects. A lot of them are like rejects of society. Do you understand? They don't fit in anywhere. They've been bullied by different groups, and you see that come out with the hyperfixations on demonized, scapegoated groups. So, for example, there's some mogs that have a fascination on beautiful women being adulteresses and, you know, having an assignment to like take the man of God down and whatever. Like my cult leader, he was heckled and I think bullied by some girls in high school, whatever, that he saw was loud. So he's written a book on strange women and still quotes them to this day when he's, you know, like in his 40s. So it must have really affected him. Do you know what I mean? That feeling of rejection from a beautiful woman. So then the beautiful woman becomes demonized, being seen as worldly. Do you see what I mean? So out of their need for validation and supply, because it's all about supply for a narcissist. They need the adoration, they need the honor, they need people to see them as they see themselves in their this psychopathic bubble. Do you understand? So when their warped ideologies start to materialize and become a reality is when they start to garner followers. Now, where there's vulnerable people, rejects of society, you're always going to have a space for cults. Let's also look at this from a global perspective. Example, when we had the Vietnam War, you know, we saw the new age cult leaders come up. We saw spirituality, the taking of DRUGS to suppress. People didn't want to be in this reality. They didn't want to face the reality that the government was as evil as it was. So there started to be subgroups, and that's when cults really thrive. So at the moment, you know, with the economic depression that we're in, the threat of WW3, all of these uncertainties, you know, when we're in civil unrest at the moment, that's when we see cults heightened. But because I've been putting out this content and a lot of people have been speaking out, silence is compliance, so people are waking up. Another example, Jonestown. Does everyone know who Jim Jones is? And again, his cult thrived as a result of the civil rights movement, because the two races weren't really mixing. There was a lot of HATE. A lot of people wanted change. What did Jim Jones come and do? He emulated Father Divine's model of being like a social rights activist, and he used that as a way, as a form of supply to dupe people, emotional manipulation. Ended up taking them to Jonestown on some land that he had bought, and it was mass, you know what. I think about 1,000 people. He deleted about 1,000 people with you know what. Yeah. Go in to look into it if you haven't done it. And I probably should do a piece on Jim Jones, you know. He reminds me a lot of my cult leader. All right. And then we've got so does that explain how they start up the cults and then they start to garner followers? It's easy to manipulate, especially because these guys, yeah, they've got that psychopathy. So they're interested in, you know, like mind control and like taking over. Yeah. And a lot of the cult leaders were loners because they were rejected from society. Like they had to create their own friends. So that's why I think they get these, like my cult leader has a hyperfixation with Kenneth E. Hagan. It's like the books become their friends. Do you know what I mean? And then they just form like, and then you have to think, if the cult leader was so effed up and traumatized at the time he started the cult, then his right hands, the people who were first there, they all got issues, man. It's sad. And then they attract the most vulnerable. Because to believe that someone's the God of you and the Lord of you and has all of the questions and have all of the answers, you've got to be in a really bad place because you want to escape reality. They have you, they control your whole life. They tell you what to do. Like they organize your whole life for you. Everybody's life's running the same way. It's a life map. It's I'd rather go to prison than be back in that cult. Do you know what I mean? Because at least I could read the books that I wanted to during my free and then have a bit of TV. That's why I'm saying they're more free than us, bro. They're more free than us. The people locked up are more free than us. Don't ever get it twisted. Even TV, like TV was demonized. Do you know what I mean? Like you couldn't even watch a little TV. Like you were seen as worldly. Like it's crazy in there. All right, so I've got YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Are there any questions at this time? Because I am gonna go. I might be back on later. I'm trying to do a few more shorter lives, guys, to also engage people on YouTube. So if you come across me and you've watched this far, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate my people, them. Chair. So thanks for watching to the end. If nobody has any questions, then I'll just fly off. Oh wait, I need to decline this. I might be back on though, like later, guys. You never know, but I'll be more. Oh, sorry, guys. I'll be more active this week coming. You'll see me outside in these online streets. So they need to get ready. But for this week, I am relaxing and resting. I need to rest. Oh my gosh, when I tell you lot the tiredness. And guys, just relax, take a lot of baths. Yeah, that's me. How do they come up with the testimonies? Oh, that's a good one. I'll answer this one quickly. How do you start the healing process if you are living in it? Oh God. All right. So the first question, how do they come up with the testimonies? Well, it's a good question as well, actually. Can you pin how do they come up with the testimonies, and then Joe after it, please, guys? So this all starts off with the indoctrination, yeah? So they've got to make people think that like their basic necessities and their basic needs is like God supplying it for them. Do you know what I mean? So like a marriage, I don't know, like a tax rebate, all of this is testimony. So they make people feel like what the general public would just get and just see as, you know, them getting a promotion is because of their hard work or whatever. They make everything, they over spiritualize it. So people become hyper religious. Some of them can sound good and real, because you've got to understand a lot of it is just trauma dumping. So the young girls will come up and be like, oh, I got raped by 7 men, this happened. They're just telling all their business. There's no aftercare support, there's nothing. And now they've been going to church for 3 months. I just don't think that's something that they should be sharing. Not on a major platform. I don't think there's enough done. They don't care about how it affects the person. They don't care that this is going to go out forever and ever. Their kids are going to see. They don't care. That's why when they're like here saying to me, I'm making a fool of myself doing it. What about the girls that have spoken about their whole life being ran through like a train? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I know people like that. There was a girl who used to do testimonies about getting gang, whatever, on the block, this and that. The guy who ended up marrying this girl literally married this girl so that he could go on missions. He don't love the girl. He don't care about her. He don't nothing. Because she gave desperation. It's like when they heard that, it's like every man put a, do you understand? And that's why them gal there, they'll be like, oh, I don't care about my pet house. That's why they go in there, look at Brittany Renner for some D, going over for Kevin Gates. That's what they do. I'm telling you, these gal them don't really care. So they think that they're not testimonies, babe. They're just normal, everyday, your odd bodge job that happens to you. You know, I saw a woman on RPF giving a testimony about God saved her getting stuck in a lift. Do you see where I'm going with it? Do you see, like, if somebody has a son and something happens in the hospital and they're really unwell, the surgeons are in there. It's a leading technology, you know, that saved that child's life. The leading technology is the medical professor, it's the doctor that studied for 10 years, 30 years, specialist that saved that child's life. All of a sudden, it's the prayers of the 5 aunties that came. And because the child's been on life support for like, let's say 2 weeks, and now whatever their medication, everything started working. The pastor calls on Thursday, he's been in there for 4 days, says a prayer, and now the medication started working, and all of a sudden, oh, you know, it's the mog that called, it's his voice that, you know, it's just, I've got a survivor. Basically, long story short, he got stuck under his car, was trying to fix it. It was one of them huge Audis, yeah. The guy had an experience where he got unalived and came back to life. So when he was telling the people, this is in my denomination, Dag Eward Mills denomination, branch in America, they said to him, could you say that Dag Eward Mills preaching was playing at the time? So it was like Dag saved him. He said, no, I'm not going to do that, because that's not how it went. So they also get people to manipulate. So do you see, for example, it was God that saved that man, but so they just twist it, they just manipulate it, and they might add that Dag's music was playing, or someone might say, do you know what, I'm willing to say it, I would have, because I'm listening to Dag's messages all the time. It was just that one day. So yeah, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Some people, they get coerced. They manipulate them to add things. If it wasn't for profit, do you think that this would happen? No, because I wouldn't have been there at this time. If it wasn't for me going, if I wasn't doing profit, if I wasn't listening to Prophet's message, you know, it's very radical. Yeah. So the testimonies, we just, it's all manipulation, yeah. Yeah, I gave £1,000 offering, and then my manager called me into the room and said that I presented this project like last year, and all of a sudden the funding's come through, and I've got the project, I've got the promotion, and I'm getting paid, I'm on more money. Yeah, because you did the project last year. There were different things. There were delays with the editor. There was the pandemic. There was this, there was that gets delayed. But they're not seeing it like that, because in their psyche, in their mind, they want to believe that they're getting something for the £1,000 that they've sent, for the invisible blessings. It's not invisible to them. So if coincidence, time and chance, it just adds up. that it so happens around that time they attribute it to that, not their hard work, not the fact that the girl's worked in that company for 8 years. She's formed and built relationships. It's her hard work, the fact that so it's like people never give the credit to themselves, and they think it's all about giving all the glory to God, but it's not. You need to give some of that glory to yourself, because you need to love yourself. You need to take acknowledgement at times for the things you've done, because then your head's in the clouds. Like that's why a mug can dupe you. That's why a fake prophet can come and tell you A, B, C, and D, because you're not grounded. You don't look at things from a logical lens. Let me tell you something. When a miracle's going to happen or something's going to happen, God's going to do it for you in your private room. You're going to be alone. No one's going to be there. No one's going to be there. It's going to be you and God. You do things in the silent, God rewards openly. Do you understand? So when they're doing all of this openly, there's no reward. You've already got it. The mog's already given you this great prophecy. He's already said all these things on your neck. That's all you've got, babe. That's it. That's why you need to be connected. It's through networks. It's nothing to do with no moving of God. They're all corrupt. Their lies and the truth ain't in them. What was Joe's comment? Can you tag it, please, babe? I'm going to end with this. I don't have a question, but I was part of the call. Oh, okay, Twin Sparks. And everything you say is on point. Big yourself up in the cup, man. I can see a lot of people getting removed. How do you start the healing process if you are living in it? What do you mean living in it? Do you mean living with cult leaders, living with cult members? Because what I would say is have strict boundaries. Have strict boundaries and get into nature. Have strict boundaries, get into nature. Make your space a utopia. Make your space a place when you come into it. Like I've got these like pampas grass, these flowers. I've got artwork. I've got ivy on my by my windows. I've got beautiful curtains. You know, like when I come into my room, it feels therapeutic. It feels like a healing space. It feels different from every other room in the house. Get plants in there. Paint your room. Like do something to make your space. So because you're going to spend a lot of time in your space, because you won't want to be around these people, Jaya. And then find the spot. Go somewhere where you can go when you're feeling like it's getting too much, because it is going to get too much. So there's less arguments, there's less conflict, because you know with these people there's a lot of isolation, us versus them, you know. To like just when you're feeling that coming up or you're feeling triggers, you have somewhere to go, a nice cafe, or it could be a nice, you know, these pubs are nice as well. They've got nice little gardens, you know, cheap and cheerful, where you can just go and sit, be with self, get in your thoughts. Does that help, Joe? Let me know. Can we do a discussion on relationships and intimacy? Because another area where I feel so behind. Ooh. Okay, what type of topics? Because I can come back on and do that later. I'll be up for that. What type of topics? TikTok, I'm going to come off in a minute. All right, brilliant. It's boundaries. Your boundaries have got to be strong like an ex. But you're living with them, but there's a way that you can avoid. And do you know what just came to me as well? My mum gave me this advice, yeah? That it's like you got to unalive people with kindness. So big smiles, just like how they're fake. You're all right. And then you can just put your face down. But it's just like, you know, so there's no conflict, because that thing that they've put in them is to like see everybody that's not with them as the enemy. So they want the conflict. Remember, narcissists thrive off chaos. So they're going to want to be creating a lot of chaos with you. So that's why I'm saying and start to work towards moving out if you can. I don't know how old you are, but just try and pick up an extra little job if you can. Just start to save, because you probably don't even want to be around them anyway. So try and pick up extra work. If you're a university student, it's the summer now. Bang it out, man. Go and ask around pubs. Go and ask around. Try and get a little something, a little extra. Go and do some bar work, do some event work, do anything. In the summer, there's all of these festivals and events. So if I was young, that's what I'd be doing, man. Getting out there, just making money. How to date, boundaries, what to look for and or avoid. Oh, okay. Let me screenshot this so that when I come on later. Oh my God, I just look a mess. All right, Lola, you're going to be back on later if I come back on then? Because I got a little drink as well. I'll come back on there. How to date, boundaries, what to look for and avoid. I can only give you, I'll give you my advice on what not to go for, because I'll tell you not to go for my ex-husband's type. You know them ones. Oh yeah, and when you come back, can you talk about praying to God, not as an external being, but within? Ooh, these are good questions. All right, let me go and have a break. Oh, I like these. So this gives me a little theme for the next one. All right then, YouTube. All right, TikTok. Let me go because you know how it gets peak on here. Let me go and have a little break. Oh look, it's 5:55 now. What time will I come back later? It could be in an hour. It could be in an hour. It could be around 7 o'clock. I need to go and charge up the phones as well. So between 7 to 8ish, that kind of time. Is that good for people? Like a little late night. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? No, tomorrow's Tuesday. No, today's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, let's do a little late night tonight, guys. Why not? Should we do about 8? But I might be on a bit earlier, Lola. Lola, I might be on a... Okay, my notifications are in. Oh, lovely. Love you, my queen. Ines, I need to get back to you. Love you, my queen. All right. Let me come off TikTok first, and then I'll come off Instagram. Love you, guys. Love you. All right, YouTube. Absolutely love you. I just want to say, YouTube, yeah, if you come across my video and you've been on here for this long, please, can you subscribe? Because I've seen my subscribers go up. I'm really happy about it, and it's encouraging me, and I've been coming more on YouTube, and I am going to start doing some content for YouTube. I'm hoping to get my life together this week. So I will be on more. Love you, YouTube. I'll see you soon. I'll see you later. I'll see you about 8 p.m. I'll see you about 8 p.m. Bye.